How you doing? I've been playing guitar since the age of about 10, I think. My friend Sebastian Beresford, Biddy Beresford, who is now a world-class session drummer, was the first to um, introduce me to this thing, the guitar. Uh, I started writing songs at the age of around 14 and played them at school. I formed a band at school, um, which was called Next Generation, something like that, or Cross Generation, something like that. And we played at a music festival, and I performed two original songs to about 300 people at school in the hall. I've reached a point musically where, much like a love relationship, I do have much to give, but I'm not sure I want to. That would be my plea to a marriage counsellor with music. I'm not sad, I'm not ill, um, I'm not desperately asking for anything other than the limited amount of people that look in on my music just know who I am. Musically, I was doing really well out in America for at least 18 months to 2 years. After I'd got divorced, I dedicated 100% of my time to earning money from the craft that I had personally put my time and efforts into over those 20 odd years to the age of 30, where you start playing seriously, say 25, 30, and above. And I'm 53 now. I've just released what I consider is not a masterpiece, but for me, it's a masterpiece for a bit of music that I haven't seen anybody else write. I haven't seen anybody else come up with a 5 string guitar, no high E string, and start doing things in different tunings on those 5 strings, other than, say, a Keith Richards who plays 5 strings. So that's interesting as a guitarist that I would come up with that alternate tuning on at least 4 or 5 tracks of the 14 tracks that I've currently got. Well, I've got more, but as a new release, I've got more information out there in the last 2 months about my music than I probably have done in the last 5 years. But music doesn't sell. I don't get how you make money from music. I never have. I made money live. We were making, at best, before my band split up, the Cafe Authors, in America, we were making $1,600 a gig, and there were only 4 of us in the band. So we made a livable living from charging people. And I just see music is this thing now where people who do it online, do it on computers all the time, people that tell you how they're producers all the time, uh, just lie to you. I don't get why people or musicians currently upload their music to the streaming services. I have completely and utterly removed, other than Standing on the Balcony, which I claimed as my own song because I wrote it, as a benchmark of what I've done, but originally released with my other band, Clever Bastards, in Seattle. I have that up, Standing on the Balcony, as a Michael David Curley track, and the most recent track that I recorded, an unnamed song. Also, there's 2 versions of that. There's an acoustic version and the studio version. I just don't see that I have it in me to release anything else. That's the truth. I have people local to me ask me why I don't play, and it's because I don't want to play. I reached a standard of playing and a standard of gig that I played at, and it's like being a big wave surfer. I mean, why would you want to surf little waves when you know there's big waves out there? I'm not learning anymore. I've no need to busk. I've no need to play in bars. I've no need to play in coffee houses. Uh, these aren't things that I want to do at the age that I'm at when I compare myself to other artists of the same generation. And you know who all those are. They don't do it unless they're getting paid, or they're turning up prior to a gig, or they've been paid to go to town to play a gig. Um, I just became one of these artists that got forgotten about by the industry. I mentioned standing on the balcony. That was infringed, in my opinion, by the industry at least 10 years ago now. And I've written to all those companies that you needed to write to, and they don't care. I'm never going to get signed by a big label, not in my lifetime anyway. I'm never going to get signed by a medium or small label. I don't fit the bill. You either don't look right at the time, they don't like your songs at the time. So, in terms of writing, I look at it like uh, I'll try and write something completely different, or I'll do it in a completely different tuning so it doesn't sound like anyone other than me. I don't follow any other artists really. I don't go to gigs anymore. Um, I don't really enjoy the bullshit of it. But I do enjoy talking to people and saying, look, I have 14 songs currently on an album, which for the life of me I called the Earlswood Files because I lived in a place called Earlswood in Solihull or near Stratford upon Avon in England for 7 years. And I had a fairly decent life there, just walking around and recording. Um, and that suddenly went. So I'm not here to complain and tell you that I don't have a son, uh, that kind of stuff. Um, I don't have a child. My child went like 15 years ago. So my whole outlook on life changed when he went. It did musically because it knocked me for a long time and I didn't want to play then. So in terms of doing what you love to do, um, I just don't see the need for me to prove beyond what I've done anything. Um, and I'm not going to, but in the future, people will not be able to stream my music for free. The only way you can stream it for free is to go to amazingradio.com, search Michael David Curley, and find my music. You won't be able to play or find any of my music on Spotify, uh, any of those, iTunes, Rhapsody, Tidal, K Digital, all these weird and wonderful companies that come up that pay you absolutely nothing. The only decent thing about streaming services was that you could look at where the stream actually came from in terms of, oh, that's interesting. I've never been to Japan before, but somehow my music got out to Japan. Uh, Record companies aren't interested in this. Um, Promotional companies aren't interested in this. And really, when you know in this realm of talking to people, there's always someone down there that will say something sarcastic or put you off wanting to do it anyway, generally, then why bother? It's not, it's not a, it's not an experience that I think is conducive to me going back into the workforce and doing something else. Um, I'm bipolar by trade, so I don't have to work at the minute. Probably never have to work again um, because of what I went through a long time ago. So I'm bipolar, so I take medication for my bipolar. And I find that just talking like this to a camera actually makes me feel better because I don't see a fat lot of people during the day other than the people that live locally to me who I know. And you go up to shops and I go for a walk and I do all that. But I keep myself busy and I try and stay in some form of shape. I have an ability to play this thing here. I have an ability to sing, and I just never see any outcome where I win in it ever, ever. Um, so if you do like my music, to close this in a nutshell, and it's not wanting something different, it's just liking the music. If you do like the music, buy it. Just buy it. I mean, we see all these commercials where somebody says, for the cost of a Starbucks coffee or a Costa coffee or your local coffee shop on the corner that claims they're independent, for the cost of a coffee, you could have 14 songs that you own copyright to, in terms that you can use them in your videos, and there's no sync licensing going on. There's no company that's going to say you can't use that. It's copywritten. Well, you kind of own that version, or so you can do what you want with it. I don't care if you put my music in a video for whatever reason. That's great, but it's limited now as to what you can put in there. I think I have one album, don't I? So Long Big City, which was an original 2000 release, and the only reason I released it was because that was my main plan in 2000. How do you get your music online? That was the quest, and I worked it out, and that was the project, and I finished it. So from that perspective, yeah, they can have it. It's not my best work, it's my early work. This is my best work. The Earlswood Files is my best work. 10 of the Best on Amazing Radio is my best work. I think people, I don't think people think, I don't think people think of me generally during the day. We as artists potentially like people to think of us during the day because we're egotistical, maybe. So yeah, don't ever go into music thinking that you're going to make money from it, because you're not. If you give away something for free continuously, you're never going to have anything in return. Until musicians turn around and say bollocks to the system and do what I've done, or never put their music up there in the first place, that's the only time you will be able to have my music in the future, is whatever videos are on YouTube or through Amazing Radio, where you stream it there. You can't take it with you, but if you want to take it with you, you're going to have to buy it. I'm just having this conversation with people. It's like to a friend. Yeah, there's a lot of things that affect my mind during the day, mostly for the good. Like I said, they claimed I'm bipolar. Well, you took my son 15 years ago. I'm not surprised I'm bipolar. That kind of reaction. And as you can probably tell, I think about him every day. I have done for 15 years. 15 years later, it's easier because you know what the outcome is. It's acceptance, they call it. My ex-wife had an affair, said it was all my fault, and then took the kid and got remarried and now has other kids. And who knows what she's told him about me. So yeah, these are all things that I have to compete with. These are all things that I know people go, well, you reckon you did that, but, have you got any videos? I've had that to me in hospital, where they don't actually believe you've achieved what you say you achieved until you actually show them and tell them where to go. And they'll keep you in there for an extra week just because you told them to fuck off. So yeah, the music game, man. I don't think I am in the music business. I don't think I've ever been in the music business. They won't let me in the music business. It gets too dirty when you have to do sliding tackles and get mud on your knees and scrape them, metaphorically. But I do, and I have done. And probably I'll look back at this video and think, well, no one watched it anyway, so what was the point, Mike, and delete it. But there you go. I try with the best of intentions, and it's reached 15 minutes, and I could talk the arse off at that. So there you go. Cheers for looking in.